Guys, good morning. Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. It is 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. All right, let me tell you my train of thought for this morning. Just stick with me here. As soon as I got up, I had some texts from. I try to help people that have slipped and relapsed into drugs again. Anyway, I don't want to get too personal, but I was talking to or texting to someone who was obviously relapsed, and they were lying. And it was obvious to me they were lying. And it was obvious to me because I could see myself or the person I have been in the past. I could see it so clearly. The person could have been me. And it's almost like you see yourself in the past. And I wondered to myself, does this person have any idea what they look and sound like? They can't be that cognizant of how clearly I'm seeing through them right now. I wish they could see themselves where I'm sitting. That made me think from time to time, not talking about drugs, but we get off path. Like with my YouTube channel. Sometimes I need to take a step back, or with my art, or with anything. Take a step back and see if I'm still aimed at where I want to go. Because it's easy to pick up new ideas and thoughts and get sidetracked, at least for me. And I find it very helpful to take a step back and ask myself, am I still headed in the direction that I want to be in? So, leaving the other parts of my life that I looked at aside, I looked at my YouTube channel. And I just wanted, before I even started looking at other videos, which I always do in the morning, some similar channels to mine, somewhat similar. Before I even do that, I was thinking about my channel. And I wanted to talk to you guys that I want to make sure that I'm not getting just in a round and round back and forth. Not vicious, but just a nonsensical circular debate with people who approve of the current situation, the nationalism, Trumpism, where things are now. And I don't want to get in a circular debate with people who just disagree, who just seem to find time to disagree with every single thing I say. I have no desire to interact with that. It's nonsense. It's a waste of my time. And that takes away from the rest of my life, and I have no intention of doing that. So I wanted to reevaluate and make sure I'm on the right path here. And once again, I took a break at 4. Well, it's actually 4:10 right now. And I just watched a first video of the morning. And I saw on one of my similar channels, which I watch all the time. And it was funny because he was talking about his objectives and for the country. And this is my thought. What are my thoughts? What am I getting at on this channel? What's my point? What's my utopia? What would I like to see in this world? The race thing bothers me. I think it's gotten better. I think it's got a long way to go. But I'll be flat out honest. I admire the channel that I watched, but in this state, in this area, it's more urban. Well, not in this exact area, but I come from a more urban background, a more city background. And when you start talking about farming and small communities helping each other, I totally agree. But having been in New York City a lot, big cities around here, I can't quite picture. It would have to be a different version of farming and canning and stuff like that. And I'll just leave it at that. my utopia, my point, I would like to see a government that is not elite. When you look, this is what bothers me. This is my point. This is the reason I'm doing this channel. When I look at a picture of this administration, I see nothing. I see all clones, all wealthy, very wealthy, over 60, over 70 white men. All exact same haircuts, exact same clothes, exact same, even if they're on different sides of the fence, even if they're Democrat and Republican. And that's another thing I'm going to talk about in a second. I'm not a Democrat. Another thing I'm going to talk, they all look like clones, and they are not a representation of America. That's what bothers me. I love that this other channel that I admire has his goal. And I believe in his goal. But I also have my objective. And another thing that bothers me, that I think is just ruining the country and is a mockery of what this country is supposed to be, is our lobbyists. Our lobbyists. And the fact that you have to be a multimillionaire in order to be in any larger form of government above the town level. You have to be a multimillionaire, and that's not right. That doesn't represent the majority of the population. And the thing that drives me crazy is we have this mindset in the current Trumpism thing that these people know better because they're business orientated. They're good with money. Let's let them take it. But we're not taking into account greed. And they have positive things like being good with business, but they also have very negative character flaws. Greed, dishonesty, winning at all costs. Extreme self-interest. I'd like to see term limits. Term limits done with lobbyists. Lobbyists should be outlawed. And more a representation of us. You, me, my next door neighbor, the guy in the next town in the government. Shorter terms, in and out. That's what I want to see. It's not quite as grand as some of the channels that I admire. I'm trying not to drop names here. I really don't want to do that. That's my goal. I think we're off track. And another thing that occurred to me is nationalism is poison. Why do I say this? Because I was watching a few shows and a few movies recently, and I started to think about Germany and Japan in particular. Italy, for those of you that aren't up on history, though, that's the Axis powers that we fought against in World War II. Italy, Japan, and Germany. And I feel like Italy just kind of was the follower in all that. But Japan and Germany, extreme nationalism. Their outlook was we are the best, and we come first, and we're going to run everybody out. We are going to control everything in this world around us. And that's what I see with Donald Trump. That's what I see with Trump supporters. That's what scares me. I have no problem with pride in your country and pride in your flag. But when you take it to another level, when you're saying you're better than other people, being the best you can be is one thing, but trying to be better than other people, just it's not what I want. And hopefully this rings true for other people watching this. So, and I thought about this yesterday too. I guess I've been doing a lot of introspection the last couple of days. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Democrat, and I even forget about that myself in these days because what the Republican Party has turned into, it's not the Republican Party anymore. It is truly the party of Trump. It's a new party. It really is. It's not the Republican Party as it was even 30, 40 years ago. It is now a different entity. Excuse me. As I've told you guys many times, I voted the first time, second time, third time. I remember voting for Bush once. George W., looking back compared to what we have now, I'd take George W. in a second. I was a registered independent almost my entire life. This, as a matter of fact, these last 4 years is the first time I've ever been a registered Democrat. I want to do what works. I want to do what's. I don't want to say what's different. I've always had a rebellious streak in me. Yeah, but anyway, so especially the Democrat thing too. To be honest with you guys, the only reason I support Biden is to get Trump out of office. I think Biden was, when he was in office with Obama, it was 10 years ago. Not quite. I mean, it was as little as 4 years ago, but I've noticed as I get older, I hate to say this, we age quicker. I see it in myself. The years go by quicker, and it takes its toll. And I think I start to see some of that in Biden, and that worries me. And he might be a little insensitive, putting it lightly, when it comes to the other sex. These are two things that bother me. What I saw in him when he was a vice president, I liked him because that's somebody, I know a lot of Trump supporters say, Trump's got balls. Being a bully is not having balls. I spent half my life being bullied, and there's fear and there's respect. Obama had respect. Trump has nothing but fear. The people all around him won't tell him the truth. They'll lose their jobs. They'll lose their livelihood. Their families will lose their homes. They kiss his ass. They will not tell him he's wrong. That's not good. That is not good. In somebody leading if you want to call it the strongest country in the world, it's not good. It's a recipe for disaster is what it is. A lot of Trump supporters said, this is one of my biggest arguments, that, yeah, he's got some business background, and not all of it's good. A lot of it's bad. You talk about, him knowing money and knowing business, but then he was born into it. We could sit here and argue all day. Well, he got $1 million from his father. He got $10 million from his father. He's self-made now. No, he doesn't know what it's like to do a day's work. I delivered newspapers to buy my first car. I had a total of 5 paper routes when I was 14 years old. I can bet Donald Trump didn't. And a lot of Trump supporters said, well, he'll have advisors to advise him on diplomatic issues, foreign issues, and all that. That was their reasoning back then. And we've seen what's happened. He flat out refuses to listen to any advice about anything. He knows all there is to know about any subject at hand. Believe him, he knows the most. And that is not a man. If I met him on the street, not knowing who he was, and I heard him say that, I think he's an idiot. If I just met him, if I applied for a job and he was the boss, I'd refuse the job. And I mean that with all my heart. And this is why I'm so amazed that I don't know and that's why I say, I don't know how some people can support him. It's not really support. It's just the fact that they and Trump both hate the same people. That's all it comes down to. They're both, and it's not even hate, it's fear. That's what hate is. Anyway, I've gotten a little off subject, but I hope I clarified things a bit. All right. You guys have a good Saturday.